everybody, and welcome to Tech Tuesday with Mrs. P. Today's focus is on formative assessment. Formative assessments allow us some insight on how well our students are performing, whether remediation is needed, or whether we can say, okay, our students have mastered this standard or objective, we can move on in our lesson. We are going to create a formative assessment using our learning management system, Canvas. Since we already have it, we might as well put it to good use. On my home page, you will see a list of items on the left-hand side. We are going to choose quizzes. You click on quizzes, and it will give you some options as far as what types of questions that you would like to have. As you can already see, I already have a quiz made. It was a copyright and fair use quiz. I have a due date, I have many points it's worth, and I also have the amount of questions. So today we are going to create a new quiz. So you are going to click on Add Quiz. Sorry about that. Add Quiz. And it gives you the option to name your quiz. So for the sake of practice, we are just going to name our quiz Practice Quiz. And it gives us some options to work on the settings. We can also give it a description. We can talk about what type of quiz type we want it to be, whether we want it to be graded or whether we just want it to be a practice quiz for the students. Let's say you have a test coming up and you just want to give them some review questions, then you would choose practice quiz. For formative assessment, we would actually want to do a graded quiz because it's actually going to count for a grade. So we're going to leave it as graded quiz. You can determine where it's going to go. It is an assignment that we want the students to complete, so we're going to leave it as an assignment. What I really love about Canvas is that it gives you some options. You can shuffle your answers up so that the students are very close together. They can't really look on each other's screen. You can also set a time limit. The Georgia Milestones is coming up quickly, and it's a time test. So this is a good option just to get the kids practicing with time constraints. You can also allow multiple attempts. So for me, this is very good for diversity. You have some students that may struggle a little bit, may not have understood the question. So you can allow them to take that test and maybe do a quick review and then maybe allow them to do it again. Another option is you can let students see their quiz responses. I would probably not select this because if you have different class periods taking the same exact quiz, if they see their responses and see what they got correct and what they got wrong, they may leak that information to the other students in your class. So I would not let them see their response and until after all quizzes are done, and then maybe do a quiz review once you have all responses back. You can also select whether you want your students to see the correct answers, or if you don't want them to see their answers, you just want them to see your scores, then you would deselect that option. So we're going to deselect, and we're also going to deselect here. We don't want them to actually see how they did on the quiz. You can actually show your quiz one at a time, or you can have all of the questions there at once. So depending on the student, for some students, all that information at once is too much. So you would definitely maybe want to show one question at a time. You can also have quiz restrictions where you can require an access code, or you can even filter IP addresses. Here at the bottom, we can assign our test. You can either assign it to everyone, or you can assign it to specific people. So if you're doing a remediation piece and you don't want everybody to have access to that same quiz, then you can choose who you want to assign it to. You also have a due date here, and you also have the option to say when it is available from. Okay? So we are going to click Save. And we are now going to go to our, excuse me. We are now going to begin putting in our questions. So we're going to click on the questions tab, and we want to add a new question. So we're going to click on the new question. And this is where we have the option to actually enter in our question and figure out what type of question we want to ask. So if you click on multiple choice, you have a choice of true, false, fill in the blank, multiple answers, multiple drop downs, matching, numerical, essay questions, file upload, text. So you have a variety of choices to choose from. You don't just have to do multiple choice. But for the sake of practice, we are going to go ahead and choose a multiple choice test. We also have an area where we can determine how many points it's worth. So we are going to type in our question, and our question is going to be, what food item is a fruit? So that's going to be our question. So once we type in our question, we're going to come down here and we're going to provide our answer. You can choose which one you want to be correct. So if I wanted this one to be correct, I could click on it. But since this is the first choice, we're going to go ahead and make this the first choice. So we're going to say plum is our correct answer. So now we're going to give our other possible answers, and we're going to say green beans. Then another one we're going to say cabbage. And then another answer could be, let's say rice. Okay? So once we have all of our options here, we can also, if we want more multiple choice selections, we can add another answer if we'd like to. But once we have our correct answer chosen, we're going to go ahead and click on Update That Question. So once we click on Update That Question, it is now part of our question bank. And so in a minute, it's thinking right now, but in a minute, it's going to add it to our quiz. And so we're going to continue this process until we have our quiz completed. Okay? All right, so our homework for today is we all need to create a formative assessment in our Canvas site. And it can be multiple choice, it can be essay, it can be whatever type of quiz you would like for it to be. And we just want to make sure that it's available for our students. So as always, if you have any questions or need any help, please feel free to see Ms. Peach in the Learning Commons. Happy Tuesday!